Welcome, dear listener, and thank you for joining me once again here at the gentle edge of history. Tonight, we will not rush through empires or battles, nor follow the loud moments of the past. Instead, we step quietly into a winter evening, into a place of shelter, warmth, and rest. Imagine a medieval hospice built from the stones of ancient Rome, where broken columns still stand within the walls, where firelight warms bricks laid centuries before, and where weary pilgrims arrive softly, one by one, from snow-covered roads. This is a story of small comforts, of bread and soup shared in silence, of fire watched patiently through the night, of Roman stone and medieval lives resting together beneath falling snow. As you listen, allow your breathing to slow. Let the world of the day gently fade behind you. There is nothing here that demands attention, only calm observation, steady rhythm, and quiet presence. If this channel brings you peace, you are warmly invited to like the video and subscribe, so you may return for more slow journeys through history and rest. The spoken story will guide you through the evening hours, and when the final words fade, soft, relaxing music will begin, continuing gently to carry you into deep, unbroken sleep. Now, settle in. Let the fire warm your thoughts. Let the night close softly around you. And when you are ready, we begin. Evening arrives slowly in this part of the world, not with a sudden darkness, but with a gentle dimming, as though the day itself is growing tired. Snow has been falling since before sunset light. Patient snow, the kind that seems to drift rather than fall. Each flake settles, without sound, upon the stones of an old Roman road, smoothing its cracks, softening its edges, and blurring the lines carved by centuries of passing feet. These stones were laid long before anyone now living can remember. They once carried soldiers, merchants, messengers of empire. Tonight, they carry only silence and the quiet weight of winter. Along this road stands a hospice for travelers, modest, sturdy, and warm. It is built into the remains of a Roman structure, its walls formed from ancient brick and reused stone. A broken column rests near the doorway, half buried in snow, its carved surface worn smooth by time and weather. What once stood tall and proud now lies low and gentle, no longer demanding attention. The hospice does not announce itself loudly. There are no banners, no bright lights. Only a small lantern burns beside the door, its flame steady, sheltered by thick glass and iron framing. The light spills outward just far enough to touch the falling snow, turning each flake briefly golden before it disappears into the growing white. The air is cold, not cruel, but firm. It presses against the breath, reminding the body to slow, to draw warmth inward. Each exhale rises like a faint cloud, then fades. The world feels hushed, as though it has agreed to speak softly for the night. Beyond the hospice, the land stretches out in quiet folds. Low hills, bare trees, fields resting beneath their winter covering. Nothing moves quickly here. Even time itself seems to walk with care. Snow gathers in the grooves of old carvings along the walls. Letters from a forgotten Latin inscription, now softened and nearly unreadable. Once, these words proclaimed dedication, ownership, purpose. Now, they simply hold snow. The building remembers more than it shows. It has stood through centuries of change. Empire giving way to faith. Marble halls, becoming places of rest. Authority transforming into quiet service. The stones have learned patience. They have learned how to remain without asking anything in return. As the evening deepens, the lantern by the door becomes brighter by contrast, its glow more noticeable against the darkening sky. It does not flicker, it does not hurry. It simply waits. Footprints appear in the snow, few, measured, leading toward the door. They belong to travelers who have walked all day beneath low clouds and pale winter light. Their steps are careful now, slowed by fatigue and the promise of shelter ahead. The hospice stands ready, as it has every evening for years beyond counting. Within its walls, warmth gathers. Firelight waits. Bread has been broken. Water has been drawn. But for now, we remain outside, breathing in the stillness, listening to the quiet settling of snow upon ancient stone. This is a place where the past does not press forward. It rests. It allows the present to pass gently over it, like snow upon a road no longer traveled in haste. And as night continues its calm descent, the world grows smaller, softer, and ready for rest. Let us step closer, slowly, and leave the cold behind. The door of the hospice is thick and heavy, built from old timber darkened by age and countless winters. Iron bands run across its surface, hammered into place long ago, their edges softened by time and touch. It does not swing freely. It moves with intention, opening only as much as is needed. And yet, it is never fully closed. Even now, in the deepening winter evening, the door rests slightly ajar. A narrow line of warm light spills out across the snow, stretching just far enough to meet the road. It is a quiet invitation, not spoken, not announced, simply present. Above the door hangs a small bell. It is plain and worn, its sound softened by years of use. When the door moves, even slightly, the bell answers with a gentle note. Not a call, not an alarm, just a reminder that someone has arrived. The first traveler of the evening approaches slowly, boots packed with snow, shoulders wrapped in a heavy cloak. He pauses at the threshold, brushing frost from his sleeves, as though not wishing to bring the cold inside all at once. When he nudges the door, the bell rings. Once low and calm, warmth meets him immediately. Not a sudden heat, but a steady, patient warmth that has been building all day. The scent of wood smoke drifts outward, mingling with the clean smell of snow. For a brief moment, the cold and warmth meet in the doorway, 10 separate, each returning to its place. Inside, the light is low and it comes from the hearth, from candles set into niches once carved by Roman hands, and from the lanterns hung carefully along the walls. Shadows move slowly, never sharply, as if the building itself prefers softness. The traveler steps inside, and the door eases back toward its resting place. Not sealed, not shut tight, but open enough for the next soul on the road. Another set of footprints appears in the snow. Then another. A woman arrives next, her pace measured, her breath visible in the lantern light. She carries little, a bundle wrapped in cloth, worn thin at the corners. She does not rush. She already knows what waits for her inside. Again, the bell sounds. Again, warmth welcomes. No questions are asked at the door. No names are required. The hospice exists for this simple purpose, to receive those who arrive. Each traveler enters in their own quiet way. Some pause to bow their heads briefly. Others rest a hand against the stone of the doorway, feeling its solid presence beneath their fingers. A few linger just long enough to let the cold leave their bones before moving fully inside. The door continues its gentle rhythm, opening, settling, opening again, never quite closing off the night beyond. Snowflakes drift in now and then, melting quietly upon the stone floor, leaving no mark. This threshold has seen centuries pass beneath it. Once, Roman officials crossed it with purpose and authority. Now, pilgrims and wanderers step through with tired gratitude. The stone does not judge the difference. Outside, the road grows quieter. The snow deepens. The world narrows to this small circle of light and shelter. Inside, the evening continues, slowly, patiently, one arrival at a time. And still, the door remains just slightly open. At the heart of the hospice, where a Roman hall once opened wide beneath a high ceiling, a fire burns. It rests within a hearth built directly into ancient stone. Stone that once formed part of a grand interior wall. The surface is darkened now, marked by centuries of smoke and warmth. Its original polish, long soft into something gentler, more forgiving. The fire does not roar. It breaks. Flames rise and fall in an easy rhythm, licking carefully at stacked logs, settling back into glowing embers. Each movement sends a quiet shift of light across the room. Shadows stretch and withdraw along the walls, tracing the outlines of columns that no longer stand, arches that end abruptly, and bricks laid by hands that are now only memory. Firelight reveals what daylight overlooks. Here, a fragment of mosaic glimmers faintly near the floor. Bits of stone arranged long ago into a pattern no one now fully understands. There, the curve of a Roman arch emerges from plaster, its form preserved simply because it was useful, because it held weight, because it endured. The pilgrims gather near the warmth, not crowding, but sharing space with quiet awareness. Cloaks are loosened. Gloves are removed and placed carefully beside their owners. Hands hover near the fire, not too close, just enough to remember what warmth feels like. The room holds many sounds, yet none demand attention. The soft crackle of burning wood, the low settling of stone as the building adjusts to the night's cold, the occasional movement of fabric, the steady rhythm of breathing. No one speaks loudly. There is no need. The fire has warmed countless evenings like this. Long before the hospice took shape, Roman fires burned in this same space for banquets, for meetings, for light against the dark. Those flames are gone, but their successors remain, fulfilling the same quiet promise: to push back the cold, to hold the night at a gentle distance. Light pools around the hearth and fades gradually toward the edges of the room. In the dimmer corners, Roman stone recedes into shadow, content to be partially seen, partially forgotten. Time behaves differently here. It does not hurry. It does not divide itself into tasks. It simply unfolds, moment by moment, in the slow language of fire and shadow. A traveler shifts position, easing stiff muscles. Another leans back against a stone wall, feeling its solid presence through layers of wool and cloth. The stone is cool, but not unkind. It holds the warmth it has learned to keep. Above, the ceiling raises into darkness. The old Roman proportions remain, even if their purpose has changed. The space still knows how to shelter. As the fire settles into a steady burn, the room grows calmer still. The outside world feels distant now. The road, the snow, the wind, all held at bay by flame and stone. Here, among ruins softened by use and care, the evening finds its center, and in the gentle dance of firelight, the past and present rest together, without conflict, without hurry, simply sharing the warmth. Keeper of the Hospice, gotosleephistorian.com/steady. Unhurried narration. The keeper of the hospice moves quietly through the room, his steps slow and familiar, as though he has learned the building's moods and prefers not to disturb them. He is an older man, bent slightly at the shoulders, not from weakness, but from habit, from years of leaning toward fires, lifting bowls, opening doors in the cold. His hair is thin and pale, his face lined in a way that suggests patience rather than hardship. He wears no symbol of rank or office. His clothing is plain, chosen for warmth and usefulness. The fabric bears signs of repair, careful stitches placed where time has worn it thin. Everything about him suggests continuity, not change. He does not hurry. He has no reason to. Passing by the hearth, he pauses to adjust a log, nudging it gently so the fire breathes more evenly. Sparks rise for a moment, then settle back into embers. Satisfied, he moves on. The keeper knows every sound this place makes. The soft complaint of a door hinge, the settling sigh of stone as temperatures shift, the small differences in the fire's voice that tell him when it needs tending and when it does not. When a traveler enters, he greets them with a nod, sometimes a quiet word, sometimes only a look that says, "You are safe here." He does not ask where they have come from, nor where they are going. The road belongs to each traveler, alone. The hospice belongs to everyone, briefly. He carries a small oil lamp as he moves, its flame shielded by his hand when he passes near a draft. The light reveals details others no longer notice: the worn curve of a step, the place where Roman stone meets medieval mortar, the shallow groove in the floor carved by centuries of feet. At one point, he stops beside a traveler whose hands tremble slightly from the cold. Without ceremony, the keeper places a bowl of warm broth into their grasp, waiting just long enough to be sure it is steady before moving away. Service here is quiet. It does not draw attention to itself. The keeper has lived with these walls for most of his life. He remembers when the roof was repaired after a hard winter, when a section of stonework shifted and had to be braced, when a storm kept the door opening late into the night. The building has aged with him. Sometimes, when the room is still, he rests a hand against the stone wall, feeling its temperature, its firmness. He knows which stones hold the warmth longest, which ones chill quickly, which ones remember the fire bed. To him, this place is not a relic. It is a companion. As the evening settles, he makes his slow circuit of the room, checking benches, adjusting blankets, ensuring water is within reach. Each action is small, but together they form a rhythm that comforts those who notice it, and those who do not. He completes his round and returns to his seat near the fire, lowering himself carefully, exhaling as he settles. The firelight catches his face, softening its lines. The keeper waits now, waits for the evening to deepen, waits for rest to arrive, and the hospice, ancient and patient, waits with him. The food in the hospice is simple, as it has always been. A loaf of coarse bread rests on a wooden board near the hearth, its crust dark and firm, its interior dense and warm. A pot of thin soup simmers nearby, sending up a gentle scent of herbs and root vegetables. Not strong, not rich, but comforting in its familiarity. The keeper rises without haste and begins to serve. He works methodically, ladling soup into bowls that have been used countless times before. Each bowl bears small imperfections, a chip along the rim, a faint crack sealed long ago, yet each is clean, dependable, ready. No words are spoken as the bowls are passed from hand to hand. The silence is not empty. It is full of understanding. Travelers accept the food with small nods, murmured thanks barely louder than breath. They sit where space allows on benches, low stools, even along the wall where old Roman stone offers support. Bread is broken, slowly. Crumbs fall and are brushed away without concern. The warmth of the bowl seeps into chilled palms, easing stiffness from fingers that have held walking staffs and reins all day long. The sound of eating is gentle and unheard, a spoon touching the side of a bowl. The quiet tear of bread, the steady rhythm of swallowing. Each sound blends into the background, never rising above the crackle of the fire. No one eats quickly here. There is no need. Outside, snow continues to fall, though it cannot be heard. Inside, time thickens, stretching softly, allowing each moment to linger. The travelers do not speak of their journeys. Stories can wait. Roads can wait. For now, the body takes what it needs, and the mind follows. One traveler warms both hands around a bowl, not yet drinking, simply holding it, letting the heat travel upward. Another leans forward slightly, elbows on knees, shoulders relaxing with each breath. The keeper watches quietly, not intruding, not withdrawing. He knows this moment well. The moment when hunger gives way to calm, when the road loosens its grip. This shared meal has taken place here in many forms. Roman workers once ate bread and broth in this very space, resting between tasks. Now, pilgrims and wanderers do the same, unaware of the long line they join. Stone, fire, food. These things endure. As bowls empty, they are set aside without clatter. The keeper collects them later, stacking them carefully, already thinking ahead to the morning. For now, the room settles into a deeper stillness. Bellies are warm. Hands are steady. The fire continues its quiet work, and in the shared silence among ancient walls, the evening gently unfolds toward rest. As the meal comes to an end, the room does not stir all at once. Stillness lingers, as though the hospice itself wishes to hold the moment a little longer. The travelers sit quietly, each wrapped in their own thoughts, their own memories of the roads that led them here. No one speaks aloud of these journeys, yet they are present all the same, drifting gently through the room like smoke that has not yet found its way upward. Each pilgrim has walked a different path. One has come from a low valley where winter arrives early, following a river that bends slowly through fields, now lying dormant beneath frost. Another has descended from higher ground, where wind moves freely across open hills, and the sky feels close enough to touch. A third has followed the line of an old Roman road, its stones worn smooth, guiding the feet even when the mind grows tired. Some roads are narrow and muddy, bordered by hedges and bare trees. Others are wide and pale, marked by milestones placed centuries ago, their inscriptions softened beyond reading. All of them ask the same thing of those who walk them: patience. The pilgrims carry little now. Most possessions have been reduced to what can be borne easily. A cloak, a small bundle, perhaps a staff worn smooth by use. The road has a way of teaching restraint. It leaves no space for excess. Here, inside the hospice, those roads seem to fold inward, converging gently upon this single room. Paths that began days or weeks apart now rest side by side, their stories laid down like cloaks near the fire. The keeper understands this without needing to ask. He has seen travelers arrive with boots worn thin, with shoulders slumped from long days, with eyes dulled by distance. He knows that each journey is shaped not only by land and weather, but by the quiet thoughts carried along the way. The fire listens. It crackles softly, as if acknowledging each unseen mile, each careful step taken through snow, mud, and fading light. The flames do not question where the travelers will go next. For now, the road is paused. Outside, the snow smooths over footprints almost as soon as they are made. Paths disappear behind those who walk them, leaving no trace. Tomorrow's road will be formed anew. Inside, the warmth remains. A traveler shifts, easing a foot that has ached all day. Another leans back, eyes closing briefly, as if testing the shape of rest. Breathing slows, shoulders drop. The hospice holds all these journeys without weighing them down. It asks nothing in return. For this evening, the roads have done their work. They have delivered their travelers safely to stone, fire, and quiet. And here, for a little while, no one needs to move at all. The walls of the hospice speak softly, though not in words. They are thick and uneven, built from stone gathered long ago. Blocks shaped by Roman hands, fitted carefully into places they were never meant to be. Some stones still bear faint tool marks. Others show the ghost of inscriptions, their letters worn smooth by time and weather. In one corner a column stands truncated, its base broad and solid, its shaft cut short to serve as a support for the roof above. It no longer reaches toward the sky. It carries weight, instead. The medieval builders did not erase what came before. They adapted it. Roman bricks are set into newer mortar, their red surfaces dulled to earthy tones. Arches once meant to impress, now serve simply to hold. Floors slope gently where ancient foundations settled long before the hospice was ever imagined. The pilgrims lean against these walls, unaware of the centuries pressed quietly behind their backs. To them, the stone is cool, steady, dependable. That is enough. The keeper notices the details others overlook. He knows where a Roman threshold lies, hidden beneath the floor, where the stone dips slightly underfoot. He knows which wall stays warm longest, after the fire burns low. An old interior wall from a time when heat mattered just as much as it does now. Above, the ceiling beams rest on ancient masonry. Wood meets stone. Medieval craft meets Roman endurance. Together, they hold the night. Light from the hearth reveals layers plaster worn thin, revealing brick beneath. Brick giving way to stone. Stone-shaped, long before the idea of a hospice ever existed. Time here is not divided into chapters. It is stacked gently, one era resting upon another. A pilgrim traces a finger along the wall absent-mindedly, feeling its uneven surface. Another notices a carved shape half buried near the floor. Perhaps once a leaf, or a symbol of a god no longer named. It is not important now. It remains because it can. The building does not insist on remembrance. It allows memory to sleep. Outside, Rome continues to exist in fragments, broken walls, fallen columns, roads leading nowhere in particular. Inside, those fragments have found purpose again. The hospice does not try to restore the past. It gives it rest. As the firelight shifts, shadows settle into the hollows of the stone, making the walls seem thicker, older, more protective. The room feels enclosed in the best possible way, held, not confined. Here, medieval lives unfold within Roman bones, unaware of the distinction. Warmth matters more than history. Shelter matters more than names. And the walls, patient and enduring, old Temol as they have held so many nights before. Outside the hospice, the snow continues its slow descent. It falls steadily now, no longer tentative, but calm and assured, as though the night has fully accepted winter's presence. Flakes drift down in layered silence, settling into every hollow, smoothing the land into gentle shapes. The road is almost hidden. Footprints left earlier in the evening soften and fade, their edges blurring until they are no more than shallow impressions beneath fresh white. The world beyond the hospice grows indistinct, wrapped in quiet. Inside, the fire burns with a steady glow. The contrast between warmth and cold becomes more pronounced, yet less noticed. Those gathered within no longer think about the weather. It exists only as a distant fact, held safely outside thick walls and a patient door. A faint draft carries the scent of snow into the room when the door shifts slightly. It melts almost at once, leaving behind only a cool freshness that mingles with smoke and stone. Time moves differently now. There is no need to measure it. The evening stretches gently, like a long breath drawn in and released slowly. Moments blend together. The crackle of embers, the settling of timber, the rise and fall of breathing. Some travelers have wrapped themselves more fully in their cloaks, adjusting fabric with small, careful movements. Others sit very still, eyes half closed, as if already drifting somewhere quieter. The keeper adds another log to the fire. He does it slowly, allowing the flames to accept it without flare or protest. The fire responds with a soft sigh, then returns to its calm rhythm. Snow taps lightly against the outer walls, though the sound is barely perceptible. Stone absorbs it easily. The building has endured far harsher nights. Beyond the hospice, fields lie untouched, hedges buried, paths erased. The night simplifies the world, reducing it to only what matters: shelter, warmth, rest. Inside, lantern light remains constant. Shadows grow longer but softer, stretching across the floor in slow arcs as the fire settles deeper into embers. A traveler shifts on a bench, tucking feet closer beneath layers of cloth. Another draws a blanket higher, settling into stillness. No one speaks. The silence is complete and comfortable. Snow continues to fall, unseen and uncounted, and within the hospice, held by Roman stone and medieval care, the night deepens not into darkness, but into peace. As the night settles more fully, a different kind of stillness enters the room. It is not the absence of sound, but the presence of inwardness, a gentle turning of attention away from the world and towards something quieter, deeper, and unnamed. Some of the travelers bow their heads slightly, hands resting loosely in their laps. Others close their eyes, not in sleep, but in a soft pause. There are no spoken prayers, no shared words rising into the air. Whatever thoughts are offered remain unvoiced. Here, faith is unhurried. It does not demand posture or recitation. It exists in breath, in warmth, in the simple fact of being sheltered for the night. For some, prayer is gratitude for the fire. For others, it is relief at having arrived at all. The ancient walls receive this silence easily. They have heard prayers in many forms, shouted, sung, whispered, and thought. They do not require any particular shape. A traveler presses fingers together briefly, then lets them rest again. Another tilts their head back against the stone, eyes closed, as if listening inwardly. The firelight moves across faces, softening features, blurring edges. The keeper sits quietly near the hearth, hands folded, gaze lowered. Whether he prays or simply rests is known only to him. In this place, the difference hardly matters. Outside, the snow continues its patient fall, covering the land without judgment or intention. Inside, the room holds a similar gentleness. Time stretches again, becoming almost weightless. Thoughts, slow, worries loosen their grip. The road, the cold, the distance still to come. All of it fades into the background. There is no expectation of resolution here. No need for answers, just the quiet companionship of shared rest. As the fire settles lower, embers glowing steadily, the room seems to breathe as one stone, flame, and human presence moving together in unspoken harmony. In this calm, prayers need no words. They are carried instead by warmth, by stillness, and by the simple safety of the night. The fire has burned down into a bed of glowing embers. Flames still rise now and then, brief and gentle, but most of the light comes from the steady red and orange heart beneath. It pulses softly, like a slow, patient breath, never hurried, never fading too quickly. The fire has become the quiet guardian of the room. It watches without seeing, It warms without asking. It holds the night at a careful distance, reminding the cold that it will not pass these stones tonight. Each ember rests against the next, sharing heat, sustaining the whole. The logs settled deeper into the hearth with a muted sound, releasing small sighs of warmth as they shift. The travelers are calmer now. Bodies lean into rest. Movements grow fewer, smaller. Cloaks drape naturally over shoulders and knees. Hands rest where they fall. The keeper rises once more, not because the fire needs tending, but because habit has taught him to check. He moves closer, crouching slightly, eyes scanning the embers with practiced ease. Satisfied, he straightens again and returns to his seat. The fire knows him. It responds to his presence as it always has, steady, dependable, unchanged. Light spreads across the floor in soft patterns, catching on the edges of stone and wood. The ancient walls seem closer now, as if leaning inward protectively. Fire has burned in this place for longer than memory allows. Different hearths, different shapes, different purposes, but always the same need. Warmth, light, reassurance against the dark. Roman flames once flickered here, fed by olive oil and wood, illuminating faces intent on matters long forgotten. Tonight's fire asks nothing more than to burn slowly and well. Outside, the snow continues, unbothered by the fire's presence. Inside, the embers glow patiently, content with their task. The room listens. Crackle, settle, glow. Breathing slows. Thoughts soften. The fire's rhythm becomes a guide, drawing the room into deeper calm. Here, beneath old stone and timber, the fire keeps its watch. Not fiercely, not brightly, but fightful. Until rest takes full hold of the night, sleep begins to arrive quietly, without announcement. It settles first in the body, in the easing of shoulders, the softening of hands, the gentle tilt of a head seeking a more comfortable angle. Breathing deepens, finding a slower rhythm, guided by warmth and stillness. The stone arches above seem to lower slightly, not in weight, but in presence, as though they are leaning closer to cradle the room. Their curves are ancient, shaped to endure, shaped to shelter. Eyes close one by one. For some, sleep comes fully. For others, it arrives in small waves, brief drifts into half-dream, then back again to waking quiet. Thoughts loosen their hold, turning less defined, more gentle. Dreams begin to form, not sharp or vivid, but soft and wandering. A remembered road beneath a clear sky, the sound of water moving slowly past stone, a distant bell ringing once, then fading. The fire continues its low glow, embers pulsing steadily, casting a warm presence even in sleep. Shadows move almost imperceptibly, stretching and settling across walls and floor. Travala shifts, cloak pulled higher by instinct rather than intention. Another exhales deeply, breath evening into a calm pattern that remains unchanged. The keeper sits nearby, unmoving now, eyes closed or nearly so. He has learned to rest lightly, always aware, yet never tense. The night does not require vigilance, only precision. Stone arches have held many such moments, centuries of sleep, rest, and dreaming layered gently within their curve. They do not remember individual lives. They remember the act of resting itself. Outside, snow covers the land completely now. The world beyond the hospice feels far away, muted, simplified. Inside, the room exists in a narrow, peaceful space between waking and sleep. Time no longer presses forward. It floats. Dreams drift softly beneath ancient stone, carried by warmth, silence, and the quiet certainty that nothing more is required of this night. The night moves forward without effort. There is no clear moment when it deepens, only a gradual thickening of quiet, a soft settling of everything into its place. The hospice seems to grow heavier, not with weight, but with calm. Most of the travelers sleep now. Their breathing rises and falls in slow, steady patterns, sometimes overlapping, sometimes falling into gentle sync. Cloaks and blankets lie still, shaped by the bodies beneath them. The fire has changed again. What were once glowing embers have dimmed into a softer red, their light less insistent, more like a memory of warmth than a display of it. Enough remains to keep the cold away. Enough remains to reassure. The keeper stands once more, moving carefully so as not to disturb the room. He makes his final round, adjusting a blanket here, nudging a bowl aside there, closing the door just a little more while still leaving it unlatched. The bell does not sound. He pauses near the doorway, listening, not for footsteps, but for the absence of them. The road is quiet now. Anyone still traveling will wait for morning. Returning to the hearth, he adds a final piece of wood, chosen, small and dry. It catches without complaint, glowing steadily, content to burn through the deepest hours of night. Stone absorbs the warmth and releases it slowly. The walls seem to breathe, expanding and contracting in response to fire and cold. Outside, the snow lies undisturbed. No wind stirs it. No animal marks it. The land sleeps as deeply as the people within these walls. The hospice holds this moment carefully. Nothing presses, nothing calls, nothing waits. The night has found its depth, a calm, even stillness where rest is complete and unbroken. And within ancient Roman stone, shaped by medieval hands, sleep rests, easily knowing it is well guarded. The night continues without ceremony. There is no moment that announces its arrival into depth. It simply settles, like snow gathering, layer by layer, until everything feels held in a thicker quiet. Within the hospice, nearly all movement has faded. Travelers sleep where they sit or lie, cloaks and blankets resting naturally around them. Breathing has found its slow, even pace, the kind that comes only when the body feels safe. The fire has softened into a gentle glow. Embers rest beneath a thin veil of ash, their warmth steady but subdued. Light no longer reaches far into the room. It stays close to the hearth, content with a smaller circle. The keeper rises once more, careful and practiced. He moves through the room without sound, his presence known only by the slight shift of shadow when he passes the fire. A blanket is drawn higher over one shoulder. A bowl is nudged aside with a gentle touch of his foot. A bench is eased closer to the wall so no one will stir if they turn in their sleep. At the door, he pauses. Outside, the night offers nothing but stillness. Snow lies undisturbed, the road erased, the world simplified into white and dark. No footsteps approach. No wind asks entry. He eases the door inward, just a fraction more. Not to seal the world out, but to quiet it further. The door remains unlatched, it always does. Returning to the hearth, he adds a final, small piece of wood, dry, light, chosen to burn slowly through the deepest hours. It catches softly, without flare, as if the fire understands the hour. Stone holds the warmth and releases it gradually. The walls, ancient and patient, seem to lean inward protectively, gathering the room into their long memory of nights like this. Time loosens its grip. Moments stretch, then dissolve. Outside, the snow rests. Inside, the hospice sleeps. The night has reached its deepest calm, a place where nothing is required, and rest is complete. Beyond the hospice walls, the wider city rests. Rome no longer announces itself with noise or grandeur. There are no crowds in the streets, no voices carried on the air. What remains now is a quiet presence, spread thin across hills and valleys, layered gently beneath the night. Snow lies upon broken walls and fallen columns. It settles into the curves of ancient steps, fills the gaps between stones, and softens the outlines of structures that once demanded attention. Under winter's cover, the city becomes gentler. The great forms of the past, forums, arches, baths, and temples, exist now mostly as silhouettes. They do not rise above the night. They rest. While, here and there, a single light burns in a window, a lamp in a monastery cell, a candle in a narrow home built against an old wall. Each small glow marks a place where life continues quietly, without ceremony. The river flows unseen through darkness, its surface muted by cold and distance. Bridges span it in stillness, their stone arches holding fast, just as they have for centuries. Rome breathes slowly now. It no longer moves as a center of power. It endures as a place of layers, Roman stone beneath medieval living, memory beneath daily routine. What was once loud has learned how to be still. Inside the hospice, this same calm holds. The sleepers are part of the city's rest, folded into its long night. Their dreams drift beneath the same sky that watches over ruins and rooftops alike. Snow continues to fall lightly, though it scarcely matters now. The city does not resist it. It accepts winter as it has accepted everything else. With patience, in this hour, Rome asks nothing of the world. It rests in its own time, content to be quiet, content to be held by night, waiting without urgency for the slow return of morning. Morning will arrive in its own way. There is no need to imagine it clearly, no need to picture light or movement or the stirring of the world beyond these walls. For now, morning exists only as a quiet certainty, resting somewhere beyond the dark, waiting without impatience. Inside the hospice, sleep holds steady. Breathing moves slowly through the room, rising and falling in calm, even patterns. Each breath is unhurried, deepened by warmth and safety. There is no restlessness here, no sharp waking, no sudden shift from one state to another. Sleep has settled fully, and it intends to stay. Dreams come and go gently. They do not demand attention. They do not press forward with urgency or meaning. They drift instead. Soft impressions, half-remembered images, feelings without edges. A road glimpsed beneath a pale sky. The warmth of a fire felt again without seeing its flame. The sense of having arrived somewhere that asks nothing more. These dreams fade, return, and fade again, leaving no disturbance behind. Bodies lie at ease. Cloaks rest naturally over shoulders and legs, their folds shaped by stillness rather than movement. Hands remain where they fell, fingers loose, no longer gripping walking staffs or bundles. Feet, once sore from long miles, rest without complaint upon stone floors that have learned how to give warmth back slowly. The hospice itself seems to sleep. The walls hold their warmth carefully, releasing it at a pace learned over centuries. Roman stone, shaped long ago for permanence, now serves a quieter purpose, not to impress or command, but to shelter. Medieval repairs sit easily upon ancient foundations, the work of different hands joined by shared necessity. Nothing strains. Nothing shifts abruptly. The embers glow faintly now, settled deep beneath a veil of ash. They no longer flare or crackle. They simply remain, offering just enough warmth to promise continuity until dawn. The fire does not hurry toward its end. It lingers, patient, content to do exactly what is asked of it. A faint warmth spreads outward from the hearth, reaching benches, walls, and the resting forms nearby. It is not dramatic. It is dependable. The keeper rests nearby. His posture is relaxed, his breathing slow, his eyes closed, or nearly so. Years of tending nights like this have taught him when attention is required and when it is not. This night requires nothing further from him. He will wake when the light changes. Not because of sound or alarm, but because the building itself will tell him. Stone will shift subtly as temperature changes. The air will move differently. The long stillness of night will loosen its hold just enough to be felt. There is no need to watch the hours. Time here has stepped aside, allowing the night to complete itself fully. No one inside the hospice wonders how long remains before morning. No one waits for it. Sleep has removed the need. Outside, snow blankets. Everything evenly. Roads lie hidden beneath smooth white coverings. Walls wear their winter lair quietly. Fields, once marked by boundaries and paths, have become open and indistinct. Rooftops hold snow without complaint. Their shapes softened, their angles gentled. Yesterday has been erased. Footsteps that arrived earlier in the evening are gone now. Their traces absorbed into the land. The road has been returned to quiet, prepared to receive new movement when the time comes. For now, the world is smooth and still. No wind troubles the snow. No animals pass through it. No distant sounds travel across it. The night has simplified everything into rest. Inside the hospice, this quiet is mirrored. Nothing calls attention. Nothing interrupts. The sleepers remain held in place by warmth, stone, and the steady certainty that they are safe. Morning exists, yes, but only as a promise, distant and unformed. And for now, that is enough. Morning will bring simple things. Bread broken again, its crust firm, its interior warm, a pot set upon the fire, water drawn and heated patiently, bowls returned to use without ceremony. The quiet sounds of a day beginning carefully, without haste. A door will be opened wider. Cold air will enter briefly, clean and sharp, carrying the scent of snow and the promise of movement. Cloaks will be lifted from hooks and benches, shaken gently to free them from frost and lingering embers of warmth. Boots will be pulled on slowly, feet tested before weight is fully placed upon them. Travelers will rise at their own pace. No bell will command them. No voice will hurry them along. Each will wake when rest has completed its work, when the body has accepted what the night has offered. Some will linger longer by the fire, hands held near the last embers, committing warmth to memory before stepping back into the world. Others will move more quickly, guided by habit or long familiarity with winter roads. The keeper will greet each quietly. A nod, a word or two, if needed. Often, nothing at all. He understands that departures, like arrivals, do not require explanation. Outside, the roads will reappear. Snow will compress beneath careful steps, forming the first paths of the morning. What was smooth and untouched will accept movement again without resistance. The land will remember how to be walked upon. But none of this is required yet. This night is complete. Inside the hospice, the sleepers remain where they are, held gently in the final hours before change. Dreams continue their soft wandering. Breathing remains slow and deep. The fire rests, glowing faintly. Its work nearly done, but not yet finished. Stone walls continue to release their warmth, sharing it evenly, without preference. The building holds its purpose well. It has done so through countless winters, through storms heavier than this, through nights colder and longer. It has sheltered those who arrived with little and departed with just enough. It has asked nothing in return. Roman stone and medieval care continue their quiet partnership. One offers endurance, the other offers kindness. Together, they create a place where rest is possible without explanation. Outside, the snow waits without expectation. The city of Rome rests beneath it, layered in quiet, its long history untroubled by the passing of another night. And so, there is nothing more to do. No need to imagine what comes next. No need to prepare. No need to follow thought any further. Let the night remain. Let the warmth linger. Let the long, gentle morning wait where it is certain, patient. For now, rest is enough. And now, our quiet evening draws gently to its close. The pilgrims rest beneath ancient stone. The fire has softened into glowing embers. Snow lies still upon the sleeping world outside. There is nothing more to follow, nowhere else to go. The night has done its work. As the spoken story fades, soft, relaxing music will now begin slow, steady, and unobtrusive, continuing the calm we have shared, and guiding your thoughts gently toward deeper rest. You may let the words drift away. You may let your breathing slow even further. Sleep can arrive naturally, without effort. Thank you for spending this peaceful winter night with Go to Sleep Historian. May warmth, stillness, and quiet dreams remain with you until morning. Rest well, and good night.